Well, marriage itself is a give and take, and how you have to do it is you have to come with an open mindset to make that partner happy.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome. Today in the house, we have Dr. Charles Dean, and he is a relationship mentor with 15 years of experience. He is a financial consultant. He's also an author and a radio personality. He is a professional speaker as well, and he is the founder and CEO of DreamWorks Cancer Foundation. So thank you for being here. I so appreciate your time. And
I am honored to be here. I am honored to be here.
thank you, thank you. And I would like to start with a question, based on marriage.
Sure.
How can we build a thriving relationship in marriage and at the same time manage, our parentinghood responsibilities?
Well, marriage itself is a give and take, and how you have to do it is you have to come with an open mindset to make that partner happy. When you wake up in the morning, because it's marriage, when you wake up in the morning, you have to say, what can I do to make his life happier today? What can I do to make her life happier today? We all go through day-to-day things, but at the end of the day, we have to come home to that partner. And if you have older children, it's a little bit more easier because you've already set the guidelines for your children because they're older. If you have newborn or younger children, then you have to start setting the rules of when they can come into the room, when they have to go to bed, when they should be in the space between the couple, when it's mommy and daddy's time. Of course you want to give them their time, but don't let them get in the middle of your relationship because kids will do that. Kids will definitely do that.
Yeah, so it's us couples' responsibility then to set
Yes,
that time.
definitely. Definitely.
Okay. Okay, beautiful. So, when life gets busy, here we go again, with work, with parentinghood, with holidays, and everything else. How should a couple continue to nurture their relationship?
This is a question that I get answered all the time, especially where we are now in this day and time, this pandemic. You have a lot of home care people, you have nurses, you have police officers, you have firefighters, and they're on different shifts. So when you're on different shifts, you say to yourself, well, if we are night and day passing each other, how do we maintain our relationship? Well, you have to get a calendar, honestly. You have to get a calendar and you have to look at it just like you would lay out the chart for your kids to go to school, when they pick lunch, when they go into dance, basketball, or something like that. You have to get a calendar for the couples. Mom and dad has to see each other Thursday at 8 o'clock. Saturday has to be our day. Make sure you have a sitter for the children. I'm going to send them to nannies, or I'm going to send them to Papa's house or something like that. And this is going to be our time together, not a time for us just to hang out, but our time to rekindle, each other. I wouldn't even say a good movie because you need that time to talk. You need to catch up. So maybe some nice music, maybe a nice dinner somewhere, or lunch, brunch, something like that, breakfast even. And you really need to spend that time together because it's all about the love between you and that partner. Stress can come in many times. We all have a stressful life, but stress can come in. And if you let that take over your space, you will begin to lose your way in your marriage. It will become like you are married roommates. And you don't want to be married roommates. So you got to get a calendar and you have to stick to that calendar. If you're home on Saturdays, then Saturday is going to be our day. If we have Thursday night, then Thursday is our weekend. and you have to stick to it.
Okay, great advice. It's like we have to make it happen.
Have to make it happen.
Because we have to grow together, not
You
apart,
have
right?
to grow together. Absolutely.
Yes, that
Absolutely.
is awesome. Yes. Uh, what are the simple habits that keep the connection strong in a relationship?
Well, everybody says communication, but everybody doesn't communicate. So you have to learn how to communicate, and you have to learn how to iterate. So if I say something to my wife, I have to hear it back to her in the sense of, did I hear this correctly? Did I hear what you said? So what you're saying to me is A, B, and C. And if I need to write it down, see, a lot of times we get it into conversations, but we don't listen. We hear what's going on, but we don't listen to our partners. So you have to set that time aside. Again, honey, we have to talk. Everybody knows what that means. Honey, we honey, we have to talk. So you make that time to sit down. I don't care if it's 15, 20 minutes, but you make that time to sit down and communicate with one another. Write down if you need to, so that you can say, so this is what you're saying. You're asking me to do this, or you want to do that, or you want to do that. When you can communicate and I understand and I hear you, because everyone has a different meaning to every single word. Everybody has a different meaning. You could use the word cat and it'll be an animal. It'll be an old school guy. It'll be a cool guy. You could say cat and it'll mean different things to everyone. So you have to understand this is what you're talking about. And then you have to listen, write it down, and then you have to act on it. Those special times is what's going to make you grow. And you also have to be able to be flexible. You have to understand that this is your heart. This is the one that you share a kitchen with, kids with, cars, bedrooms, bathrooms. And to be in that space, you have to be very comfortable with them to do that. So you have to open yourself up to understanding what's going on. They say don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Okay, so the power of questions so that we can understand our level of communication is important.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, did you mean this? Instead
Right.
of, because I could have misinterpreted in a different way.
You know what? When if I'm doing a couple skill with couples or something, I find out what each other's love language is. And if you act on the love language, it helps a lot. Because when you act on that person's love language, it lets them know that you listen to them, you understand who they are, and you're going to do or react to their love language. So if you cooked fish tonight or something like that, and the whole house is smelling like fried fish or something, and you get up in the morning and you say, sweetheart, can you take the garbage out? And you say, okay. But then you get up, you clean the bathroom, you do the garage, you paint the living room, all of that. And your wife walks back in and you didn't take the garbage out. Well, you didn't act on her love language, which would have been services. The service was service me, take the trash out. I really don't care that you did the garage, but the house still stinks. So you have to act on that love language. Yeah.
Okay, that's important. I'm going to take note on that one because I do forget. I know the 5 love languages, but it's something I don't adopt in my everyday life, and I need to do that.
Yeah, you should write them down. It's acts of services, touch, gifts. Now you got me on acts of services, touch, gifts, touch. Forget it. I'll get them again.
Yeah, I think like auditory.
Words of affirmation. Yes, and services. Yes, those are the 5.
Yeah. What is the most common denominator you see that it affects relationships?
That people always fall into the habit of having a, how can I say, a teacher to a student syndrome, where there's always a teacher and there's always a student, someone that's doing more than the other or expecting more than the other when you're supposed to be partners, or maybe it's the parent to the child syndrome, where you're telling and telling, you are supposed to be my partner. I am supposed to speak to you about everything in life that is going to affect you and I, which is really everything in life that's going to affect. If I tell you I'm going to the store and it's right down the street, but I didn't tell you that I walked out the door, you might be looking for me in the house. And if something happens outside the gate from the house, you don't know what happened because you don't know where I was. I thought he was upstairs. I thought he was downstairs watching a football game. Hours done went by. I'm out the house. You don't know where I'm at. So you have to have that kind of communication where you are letting someone know this is my partner. When you enter a corporate, let's say a corporate, and someone says I'm leaving the office, they have a secretary or they have an assistant. They let them know I'm leaving the office. I'm doing this. I'm doing that, because your whereabouts or the things that you do have to be accountable for. Mom, where's dad? Dad, where's mom? Are we doing so and so this? We're doing so and so that. You have to have partnership between the two of you for everything in your life.
Okay, good to know. So, what are the signs that we need to look for in a relationship that is fading? Like, what are the signs that I have to be looking for in my marriage?
Signs that you're looking for that your relationship is failing.
Fading, like just because it takes, I believe that a relationship doesn't just end from one day to another. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
accumulation of like lack of communication, accumulation of being disrespectful to one another. Like it builds up through time. So what are the signs we need to be watching for, in our marriage to make sure that it's no fading away?
You really just answered your own question. You did. Because like you said, it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. A woman, what really anybody, they're going to talk about it first. They might talk about it in a joking manner, but they're going to talk about it first to see your reaction. Then they're going to have a more serious conversation about what it is. And then they might tell you, we really need to do this, that, and the other. Now, between that time, you'll start to see actions begin to fade away. Maybe it was a phone call in the morning when I got to work. Well, I might not make that phone call to you anymore, because it's just like, as important as you are, you're not that important to me anymore. So I'll start doing things. Maybe you cook dinner and there's dinner in the microwave, or we used to eat together. Now there's dinner in the microwave. 6 o'clock comes around. I'm not home. You put it in the microwave. Your dinner's in the microwave. Get it, the lovemaking, between the two. It used to be spontaneous. Now it's not spontaneous or as fun as it used to be before. Maybe you're spending more time with outside entertainment than you are in the house. And outside might mean I'm taking the kids out. It might mean I'm going to my mother's, to my sister's, where I used to be home on Friday night. Now I'm not home on Friday night because I decide I want to go play bingo, where Friday night used to be our date nights, So all of these things you really won't notice, but they are happening. And the reason why you might not notice, because you're necessarily not paying attention to the changes, because you might be the problem. So because you are the problem, when she says I'm working late, you're saying boys night out, I'm gonna hang out, or he says I'm gonna stop by to the gym and play some basketball tonight. Well, Let me get my girls together, see if I can get on the phone. I'm going to watch me some TV. I'm going to binge watch the way I want to. So you really don't even pay attention to, oh my God, there's a problem happening in my marriage, and he's not. All of a sudden, 3, 4, 5 months go along, and then you start saying, he hasn't been home on a Friday night at 7 o'clock in like 2 months. Like all of a sudden it starts hitting you. That happens. Or, she's been at the salon every other week, when it's supposed to be our lunchtime. Then it starts hitting you. Well, those couple of months that went down the road should let you know, let's start working on it. The problem is most people, unless they are taught the skills to do it, they don't know how to talk about it. Because we have this defense mechanism of either they did something wrong or I did something wrong, and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to bring up an argument. I don't want to bring up a fight. But for the person that you love, prime example. Oh my gosh, prime example. And I know I'm taking up your time.
You're fine. You're fine.
You're in a marriage. You're in a marriage, and the woman gets pregnant. Why is it so difficult for the woman to tell her husband that I am pregnant? This is the guy that you love, that you're married, that should be happy. Come anything. Whether you're pregnant, we should be yay, 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 yay. Whether it's the right time and we're getting ready to buy a house or open up a business, it should still be yay, 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 because you're my wife, you're my husband. But why is it? I don't know if I can tell him. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. I don't know what to do. Mom, girlfriend, this, that, and the other. Why is that with a person that you genuinely love or supposed to genuinely love? And then weeks and months go by. Are you pregnant? When? What can we do? This, that, and the other. You have so much animosity between the two at that time. You don't want that. You don't want to talk about that. So the conversation just goes by, and then it's easier to get out of something. So we think it's easier to get out of it with an attitude. Oh yeah, really? I'm pregnant. Now what you gonna do? Now what? I'm pregnant. Yeah. Okay. So what? So, and then it's like, what do we do? You just start something to try to get out of something that could have been dealt with long time ago at the beginning, but so many people just don't know how to do it.
The art of communication, like asking the right questions and being humble. I'm just picturing it.
Absolutely.
And then knowing like, well, what are our core values,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If it's love, it's like, then let's be humble enough to say, I messed up. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Is it possible for a couple to regain the polarity in their marriage, in their relationship?
Yeah. Again, like you said, the core values of who you are, there's going to be some things that you may not be able to bounce back from right away. But as human beings, we are a forgiving species, and it might take time, but we can bounce back. If we truly loved one another when we got together, there wasn't a misrepresentation. We didn't have a false representative. But if we went into this genuinely the right way, then we can bounce back because our foundation is on true love. It's not predicated to money. It's not predicated to where I'm living or where I'm driving or the circumstance of that you even got pregnant. And now we just got a child together. Well, if you got a child together, that's one thing, fine. But it doesn't mean that you have to get married. And let's hope that you're not getting married for all the other complex things that can come with a marriage. I just want to. Hopefully it is for true love, which again, most people don't know how to communicate and understand that true love. But when you do it, you have to have that open mind that this is something that we're going to work towards. And if I have an excused term, Let's put it this way. If I have 100 skill sets that I need to use, or the coach tells me I need to shoot 100 shots in that basketball hoop, and I only shoot 30, and I don't make them. Well, I leave the other 70 shots on the table. Now I could have made 50 shots out of the 100, but I only took 30. I missed most of them because that's what we do in our marriages. We try things and try things. The doctor already told us that we needed to do 10 things, and we did 3. And they said, well, it didn't work. She didn't want to accept the flowers. He didn't want to go out to dinner. I tried to dress up in something romantic for him. He didn't like it. I tried to cut the TV. She walks in front of the TV, this, that, and the other. You only tried 3 things. You left 7 on the table. The doctor said to do all 10, and you only did all 3. So then you give up. So if you shoot the shots that was given to you to do, there's a possibility of bouncing back from everything. And when you begin to bounce back, which is also a reason why doctors give us subscriptions. They don't give us subscriptions for just 4 pills. You got about 20 pills in there. Even after the symptoms seem like they're going, clean it all out. Take the rest of the pills, clean it all out. That's why we give it to you between that time frame. Clean it all out. Get that infection out. Get it out of your way. Don't get mad if you get a light headache or something. That's part of what cleaning it out is all about. So even though the man did something and the woman brings it back up to him a couple of times, just keep doing what he's supposed to do. It's going to give her time to get over that. She's got a memory like an elephant, so she might remember this, that, and the other. Same thing with the guys. The guys looking at her like, how could you? How could you? How could you? Give her an opportunity. That's the cleanup process. You already went through so much. You decide to get it back, but then after a couple of months, you get a trigger, and that's normal. Triggers happen because you've been in this bubble trying to get things together. Now it's time to hit reality. It's time to hit life again. Maybe when you were upset with one another, you didn't go out and hang out with your friends and everything because you didn't want to be in that circle. Now you think things are decent because you and her or him are in this bubble at home. Now it's time to go out with the friends. You go out with the friends and something triggers you. And it's like, oh my God, take the trigger, be an adult and just keep doing what you're doing to make it right. There's going to be lots of triggers until it's all over. And I can talk about that like all day. That's a skill set that so many couples, for some reason, just don't want to follow through on. You think forgiveness is an overnight thing. I forgive you. Okay, let's go to dinner. I don't want to go to dinner. I'm very upset. I'm really pissed off. I'm this, that, and the other. 2 weeks later, you forgive me? Yes. Okay, let's go have sex. I don't want to have sex with you. I'm still hurt from this or that and the other. Take the time. Take it for the team. Sooner or later, it'll fade just like a bad memory.
Okay, good. Where can we find you? If there is anybody here, any viewers that want to know more about you and know more like about what you do and what services you offer, where can they find you?
Dr. Charles Dean, USA at gmail.com. Dr. Charles Dean, USA at gmail.com. I also have a thumbprint. You can just Google Dr. Charles Dean. You'll find me anywhere. But for most people that want to email me, Dr. Charles Dean, USA at gmail.com. I have a digital footprint. You'll find me.
Yes. And I'll make sure to type the email in the description as well.
Yes.
Now, before you go, please share with us an advice, like anything that we can gain from you today to apply into our lives to build a brighter future with our relationships.
Times change. and people change. When this happens, you have to be able to communicate and talk about the change. Especially, let's put it this way. We might be getting older and we might have just something hereditary from our family. One minute you lie down in bed, you're perfect. The next morning you wake up, all you did was go to sleep, but something in your time clock changed. And now you're waking up feeling different. And you turn your head, this, that, and the other. You have to let your partner know there's a change in my life. I'm sleeping a little more. My back's aching a little more. I don't feel that energy I used to have before, because your partner is still looking for the same person that went to bed last night, and you don't have the energy to do A, B, and C. So you might say right now that's okay, but what happens tomorrow and the day after and the day after that? This is a life change for you already. So what happens again with people? Many times we go through things in life just because one person is happy that they got a raise at work. The other one just had a bad day. You come in the house happy, go lucky, this, that, and the other, rah, rah, rah. And the other person's like, what are you happy for? And they got a raise. Okay, so what? You got a raise. I'm pissed off. You have to understand the changes that happens in people's life. As much as we think, I can finish your sentences, I know what you're thinking, this, that, and the other. You don't. You just been together, for some time, and maybe you got a little bit of understanding. But when those things really happen, unless I tell you what it is, don't assume. Don't assume. You might know me better than I know myself, but don't assume. Always ask the questions. Talk about it, ask the questions, and then act on it. The best, and I'm going to try to get it right. I use it a couple of times. Couples should be like doctors. Examine the prognose and then subscribe. I'm going to examine you, find out what's going on in your life. I'm going to give you the prognosis that you're having headaches. Then I'm going to give you the aspirins, the pills, or whatever it is to take. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to notice that you're having mood changes or things aren't right in our life. I'm going to say we need to do A, B, and C couple skill. And then, we're going to act on it. We have to do it.
Beautiful. Yes, I hope everybody is getting a phrase, a word, it's like an aha moment of how we can improve our relationships, because there is always room to improve, because lives change. We're getting older. There's new things coming out, and we just have to continue to nurture our relationship with our husband, with our significant other. Thank you so much for being here today. Okay, at the end of my interviews, I do a high five. So can you high five with me today? Thank you so much. Blessings to everybody.
Bye-bye. Take care.